Hello guys, this is one of Football 90's editors, and today I'm going to explain, or rather review on what's going on with the transfers in Serie A. So let's start with Atalanta, which of course is a surprise this season, not in Champions League only, but also in Serie A. They are ranked 5th, and their reinforcements have only been has only been Caldara from AC Milan, which is also a return for the Italian, whom didn't have much playtime at Milan, and he has signed for Atalanta in a loan deal with option to buy for 15 million. Also, Atalanta are discussing for a departure, that is of Roger Ibanez, the young Brazilian has an agreement with Roma and Bologna, and with a contract until 2024. It's up to the player to choose between Roma and Bologna, but Atalanta has an agreement with both of them. And now we are discussing for Milan, since Milan is having a good time after leaving Caldara, after sending Caldara back to Atalanta, when which Juventus signed him from there and returned him back. And Milan has signed Kjaer as Caldara's replacement, and also have signed Asmir Begovic from AFC Bournemouth. He was loaned out. He was loaned out to Karabakh and then returned back in Europe. Yeah, essentially he returned back to Europe. At this time, there is a new experience for him, and that is AC Milan. And now Simon Kjaer has been on loan from Sevilla to Atalanta, but he didn't play much. His last game was Dinamo Zagreb on Champions League, which he played a full 90 minutes game. And he has signed a loan deal for Milan. Has signed a loan deal for Milan with an option to buy for 2.5 million, as I've heard from Gazzetta dello Sport. Roma's situation is going downhill as they have lost their primary choice on right wing, since Zaniolo has been injured and will be missing for a long time after he tore his ACL. After making a brilliant run against Juventus, he got injured after a clash between De Ligt and Rabiot at the same time, as he avoided the clash with Rabiot and got injured when clashing with De Ligt, and also his fall was not that good. He's gonna miss for a long time, as well as missing in the Euros this year, which will be taking place in different countries around Europe. And his replacements are Politano, who is on pole, Ibanez as well, on whom have an agreement with Atalanta, and Souza. Souza has declared his future to away from Milan, and has discussed it yesterday with the directors, that being Boban and Maldini. The player wanted to move for quite a long time, since he has been on the lineup for a long time. But let's say he wants a new experience. But then again, Milan is considering him around 30 million euros. Roma is interested on him, and Milan has refused a bid, a loan bid actually, a loan bid with option to buy from Roma, and Roma will try again for Suso, but their first target is Matteo Politano, on which Milan had an interest on him, and Inter wanted to swap him for Frank Yannick Kessie, on which the deal was never even considered in the first place. And right now, there are some fake news surrounding the Rossoneri and the Nerazzurri about a potential swap between Vecino and Kessi, which was published by Corriere della Sera, Corriere dello Sport, not della Sera. Corriere dello Sport has published that first, but any source who are close to Milan have denied it. So we move on. West Ham have made a bid for Roberto Gagliardini, of one of Inter's midfielders, but it has been rejected. Inter does not intend to sell him in the near future, so the primary target isn't his sale, but Inter is interested and has been on fire lately because they have reached an agreement with Christian Eriksen and Olivier Giroud. For both players, Inter has had an agreement for quite a long time. Actually, it has been like a week or so. A week or so. The last details are to be finalized, but there is an agreement missing between the clubs and Inter. Also, there are news circulating around about Ashley Young, who is potentially leaving Manchester United this season, but Ashley Young is going to leave as he rejected the new renewal bid from Manchester United and has a personal agreement with Inter. It's up to Manchester United to decide his future and what will be his price. So we go on again with the Roma, as they have been rejected from Liverpool by Liverpool for Shaqiri, um, on which they offered a loan deal, but Liverpool said no. Moving on to the mid-level teams on Serie A, such as Sampdoria, who has reopened talks with Napoli about Tonelli. Tonelli, who has been with Sampdoria for quite a long time, is now in the middle because Napoli owns him and Sampdoria has loaned him out twice, and it seems his experience with Napoli is going downhill. And Sampdoria also have initiated first contact for a possible departure of Caprari with Sassuolo, but it's yet to be concrete. And we are moving on from Sampdoria to Spal, who are also active in this winter window. Well, correlations sometimes happen. Spal, who has also been active in this winter window, has initiated contacts with Torino for Bonifazi, on which they had last season on loan from, of course, Arganata with Torino, since he was their player last season, and also are interested in Torino's Spanish winger, Iago Falque, whom they are skeptic about him because his conditions are not the best. Moving on to Fiorentina, who has signed Patrick Cutrone on loan from Wolves. It's a loan deal with obligation to buy, I think, as I've heard, and he's on loan from Wolverhampton, and the loan deal has been finalized and has been official at the moment. Moving on from Fiorentina to Udinese, Udinese actually has sold Ignazio Pussetto for 8 mil to Watford. Watford, who are fighting for a possible relegation this year, have signed the Italian striker who is 23 years old. Fiorentina has also discussed a move for a possible departure with Flamengo for their young Brazilian winger Pedro. Pedro, who hasn't found much playtime at Fiorentina, is going to be loaned out back where he came from not from Flamengo essentially, but in Brazil. This time with Flamengo, since the first time of his was with Fluminense. Moving on again from Fiorentina and Sassuolo. Sassuolo, of course, as we said in Sampdoria, as we said for Sampdoria, has opened the negotiations for Gianluca Caprari, who hasn't found much playtime yet this season. This time, Bologna is also very active. Bologna has closed a deal for Emanuele Vignato, on which Milan and Bayern München were interested on the summer. Bologna has closed a deal and will play for Chievo Verona for the rest of the season. Also, Bologna has closed a deal for a 23-year-old goalkeeper from Potenza, which name on his name is Breza. Breza from Potenza has signed for Bologna, and Napoli is also very active. After getting Demme and Lobotka, respectively from Leipzig and Celta Vigo, are also active this time. This time doing some shopping in Verona. This time for Sofian Amrabat and Amir Rahmani, on which they've closed in for 14 million. The Kosovar has been excellent so far this season for Hellas Verona, whom are ranked 9th after a solid performance in the first half of the season. Also, they are interested on Sufyan Amrabat, the Moroccan midfielder, is now on Partenope's site. And right now, Milan, as we switch from Napoli to Milan, both clubs are on a transition as they are ranked 10th and 7th respectively. As Milan is searching for a new owner and also a replacement for Suso, they've signed Begovic and Kjaer. They are also interested on Politano, Shaqiri, who has been proposed, Kenny Tete, and possibly Yannick Ferreira Carrasco, who wants to return in Europe after his first spell in Europe with Atletico Madrid. After the regulations in China, he opts to switch to Europe again when he shined with Atletico Madrid, being a very solid player on his left wing position, and now he's interested on a move to Europe. This time, Milan, probably. Kenny Tete has been also offered for Milan. They are currently considering him to be a part of his squad, but then again, it's up to Maldini and Boban to decide should they sign him or not. Milan's news also correlates with Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton's owner Arnaud, who has publicly denied his interest on buying Milan, but Luca Serafini, who is a reporter, has reported that the agreement has been reached between Louis Vuitton Group and Milan, and potentially swapping an entire board. Only Boban has the place safe. And right now, Roma and Milan and Napoli, Inter has been very active, as we said previously, but the agreement between Tottenham and Chelsea are missing. So do not do not mess it up. Milan are also interested in signing another center back, another defender to be precise, and his and the target was Jerome Boateng, but as said by Daniele Longo, who is a very close reporter to Milan, Boateng is not an option of Milan for the defense. Although Sky Sport Italia has reported that Milan will sign another defender after Simon Kjaer, who is on loan from Sevilla. Sevilla owns him, owns Kjaer, and has been loaned out twice in a season. Uh, the first time with Atalanta, on which rarely he played, and now the second spell, Simon Kjaer will now play for Milan, and as rumored he might play tomorrow against Spal in Coppa Italia. Right now, that concludes it for today. Thank you for following the page. Thank you for your attention to this video, and I will see you later. Bye.